The True Meaning of Christmas and Home Alone. Reflections on Life and Christmas Values. Christmas that time of year that surrounds us with twinkling lights, the scent of cinnamon and pine, and a sense of magic in the air. For many, it is a time of celebration, of unity, where the warmth of human connection blends with the beauty of decorations and festivities. However, as we dive deeper into this holiday, we are confronted with a question: what does Christmas really mean today? Over time, Christmas has become marked by a series of external pressures, from the quest for the perfect gift to the desire to create an idealized celebration. But if we look more closely, we will see that the true spirit of this holiday goes beyond material goods and festive gatherings. To reflect on the true meaning of Christmas, let's look at the story of Kevin McAllister, the mischievous boy who, after being accidentally left behind while his family goes on their Christmas vacation, takes us on a journey that reveals much more than just an adventure of a boy in trouble. Home Alone has become a classic, not only for its fun scenes and clever traps, but for its deep moments, which force us to question the real priorities in our lives. Throughout this script, we will explore the lessons Kevin learns as he faces loneliness, the absence of his family, and most importantly, feelings of loss and reconciliation. More than a simple comedy tale, Kevin's story is a powerful metaphor for our own lives, where external pressures, rampant consumption, and individualism often overshadow what truly matters: genuine connection with others, the importance of forgiveness, and the need to be present in the lives of those we love. Christmas in contemporary society, between tradition and social pressure. For many, Christmas has always been a time for family celebration, an opportunity to gather with loved ones and share special moments. But nowadays, what was once an intimate and communal celebration has, in many cases, turned into a frantic race to ensure the perfect party. From last-minute shopping to elaborate dinners, the Christmas season often feels more like a ritual of consumption than a time for introspection and togetherness. The film introduces us right at the beginning to Kevin's house, with the hustle and bustle of a large number of people preparing for the Christmas trip. The house is full, arguments arise, and pressures mount. The idea that Christmas needs to be perfect begins to surface, but this soon leads us to an uncomfortable realization. Christmas, in its essence, shouldn't be about having the best decorated house or buying the most expensive gift. It's much more about being with those we love, about the genuine human connections that sustain us, and about the time we spend together, not what we own or display. In Kevin's story, the first feeling he has when left behind is one of freedom. He can do whatever he wants, with no rules, no responsibilities. For him, what seemed like the fulfillment of a great desire to be alone quickly transforms into a lonely journey of self-discovery. Although Kevin is initially excited about his independence, he soon realizes that the emptiness of solitude cannot be filled with fleeting fun or material things. He misses his family, the chaos of the crowded house, and most importantly, the love that cannot be bought but must be earned and shared. This first revelation is a powerful reflection on how often, in the pursuit of independence and freedom, we distance ourselves from the things that really matter. Today, many people feel pressured to always be busy, chasing the next big event or the next big achievement. But the emotional loneliness many experience during Christmas is a clear reflection of a society that values individualism more than relationships. In the end, true freedom is not in being alone, but in being with those who make our lives richer and more meaningful. The value of family, the true meaning of Christmas. As Kevin spends more time alone, he begins to realize that while freedom is something to be desired, what he truly lacks is the presence of his family. The film, with its lightness and humor, explores the idea that often we take family for granted. At first, Kevin is annoyed by the noise of his siblings and the chaos of the crowded house. But as time passes, he begins to understand that it is precisely these small and imperfect family interactions that give meaning to his life. Christmas, as Kevin soon realizes, isn't about gifts or parties. It's about the time shared with the people who matter to us. When he finds himself alone, he starts to deeply miss his family because, no matter how many arguments or tense moments occur, it is the love of family that ultimately sustains us. Family members, with their quirks and imperfections, are the ones who truly give meaning to our existence. And this is something Kevin learns while his house is empty. and he finds himself alone without friends or relatives around. In today's society, where relationships are often sidelined in the name of professional commitments or the pursuit of status, the film offers a valuable lesson. The greatest gift we can give to others is not in the value of what we can buy, but in true presence, genuine attention, and shared time. During Christmas, we often become so focused on what's external, on outward celebrations, that we forget the simplest and most essential thing: being present for those who matter most. When Kevin finally has the chance to reflect on the value of his family, he understands that, despite the challenges, it is these moments that truly matter. The true magic of Christmas is, in fact, in the little things, in the conversations around the table, in the shared laughter, in forgiveness, and in accepting the flaws of others. Christmas is not a holiday to be lived in isolation. It's a celebration of love and human connection, and nothing can replace this gift. At the end of Home Alone, when Kevin finally reunites with his family, the reconciliation scene is not just about coming back home, but about what really matters at Christmas: love, forgiveness, and time spent with others. Throughout the film, Kevin learns that the most valuable things are not material. They cannot be bought in a store or placed under the tree. What truly fills us and brings us joy are real relationships and the ability to reconnect with those we love, regardless of our flaws, mistakes, and distances. Kevin's journey, loneliness, and the rescue of the Christmas spirit. As Kevin McAllister's story unfolds, we see that the beginning of his journey, in a surprisingly profound way, starts with loneliness. After his family leaves, he realizes that he is alone in his large house, surrounded by an emptiness that goes beyond the walls. What seemed to be every child's dream, being free from rules and responsibilities, quickly transforms into an emotionally painful experience, where the absence of his family members becomes more present than any gift he could have placed under the Christmas tree. Kevin has fun at first, doing whatever he wants, eating pizza without limits and watching the movies he enjoys. However, the emptiness he feels in his house, the noise of the absence of laughter and conversation, starts to seep into his consciousness. He wonders, as many of us have, why we are seeking something that, in the end, does not fill our souls. This relentless search for freedom, for momentary pleasure, is not something exclusive to Kevin. Throughout society, we are taught to seek happiness in possessions and external experiences, in travel and parties and professional success. But deep down, there is always something missing, and when we find ourselves truly alone, the pain of disconnection and the lack of a genuine bond becomes overwhelming. This reflection, much of what Kevin experiences in his empty house, also reflects a reality for many adults who distance themselves from essential relationships in search of status, financial well-being, or simply the idea that they need to achieve more to feel complete. Christmas, which should be a time to celebrate life and relationships, ends up being reduced to a date where people strive to have the best decorations, the best food, and the most gifts. And what really happens? The connections get lost, and true joy is left on the sidelines, invisible, devoid of freedom and the discovery of a new purpose. The first phase of Kevin's journey can be seen as a reflection of how we often seek freedom and fun without truly understanding what it means. For him, freedom seemed to be doing whatever you wanted, without anyone imposing rules. But within a few days, the euphoria gives way to deep reflection. Who are we when we are truly alone? Today, the search for independence is often seen as something to celebrate. Many believe that having time for oneself, not depending on anyone, and being able to be alone is the formula for happiness. And yes, there is value in independence, time for reflection, and self-care. However, true freedom does not only lie in distancing ourselves from everything. Real freedom lies in being able to live in harmony with others and finding joy in the relationships that define us and help us grow. Kevin, during his journey, begins to realize that freedom without emotional connection and without the bonds that make life richer and more meaningful has no real value. The emptiness he feels begins to expand, showing him and us a truth often ignored. We need each other. And it is this learning, the understanding that true freedom and true happiness do not come from living without rules or responsibilities, but from living fully and authentically with others, that marks the second phase of his journey. Meeting Mr. Marley, the lesson of empathy and humanity. But the true turning point for Kevin is not just in his confrontation with loneliness, But in his encounter with an apparently strange figure, Mr. Marley, a man seen by the child as something scary. This seemingly sinister character is someone who lives alone, with a past full of pain, regret, and loss. Initially, Kevin is afraid of him, and as is natural in our society, there is a tendency to avoid what we do not understand or what makes us uncomfortable. But what Kevin discovers, and what is revealed to us throughout the movie, is that Mr. Marley is not the monster he thought. He is a person full of regrets and human needs, just like any one of us. By learning to look at him with empathy, Kevin begins to realize that, behind any facade, we all carry stories that, if listened to, can connect us in unexpected ways. At its core, the relationship between Kevin and Marley teaches us something very powerful. No one is invisible. Everyone has a story, everyone has pain and loss, and everyone deserves to be seen and heard. True empathy begins with the willingness to look beyond the surface, not to judge by first impressions, and to offer a helping hand even when it seems the other person is not like us. This lesson is essential, especially in a world where people are often labeled, discarded, or ignored because of their differences. Christmas, as we see in the movie, is the perfect time to open our eyes to those around us, to look beyond facades and understand the value of every human being. In the end, the true spirit of Christmas is in overcoming the fear of the unknown and choosing to be a welcoming and understanding presence for those who need it most. Forgiveness and reconciliation, the true spirit of Christmas. As Kevin's story progresses, we see how the initial loneliness, fun, and creative traps he sets to defend his house ultimately give way to something deeper. When the McAllister family finally returns, the story culminates in an emotional reunion and, perhaps more importantly, in reconciliation. During the time he was alone, Kevin not only learned the value of his family, but he also learned to forgive, to let go of grudges, and to realize that the flaws of others are no greater than our own. Forgiveness, one of the greatest gifts we can give to ourselves and others, becomes a key point in this moment of reconnection. Kevin, upon reuniting with his family, understands that happiness is not in being perfect, but in being able to accept the imperfections of others and open his heart to forgiveness. Christmas, in addition to being a time for material gifts, is a time for emotional gifts, gifts of understanding, care, forgiveness, and love. In today's world, where family disputes, misunderstandings, and emotional distance are common, the film offers us a great lesson. The true magic of Christmas is in allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and believing in the power of reconciliation. In the end, Kevin not only reunites with his family, but also renews the bonds that make relationships meaningful. Christmas, at its core, is about being together, not just physically, but emotionally accepting others, forgiving them, and most importantly, celebrating the things that truly matter. At the end of Home Alone, Kevin learns that true joy is not in the things we can acquire, but in the moments we can share. What defines Christmas is not the festivities or the presents, but the human relationships we nurture over time. And this, my friends, is the greatest gift of all. Conclusion: the lessons we take from Home Alone and the true meaning of Christmas. As we approach the end of this reflective journey, it is impossible not to notice that Home Alone, often seen as a simple Christmas comedy, carries powerful lessons about the deeper aspects of human life. When Kevin finally reconciles with his family and the house is filled with laughter again, the film doesn't just present the conclusion of a fun story. It actually offers us an invitation to rediscover the true spirit of Christmas. In a world where Christmas often boils down to a season of shopping, rush, and social pressures, Home Alone makes us stop and reflect on something essential. Christmas is a celebration of genuine human connection. The spirit of love, understanding, forgiveness, togetherness, and caring for one another is not something we find in shopping malls or TV commercials. It is, in fact, in the simple act of being present both physically and emotionally for those we love. Christmas and the search for genuine connections. Living in a society that values individualism and the constant search for material success can make many of us feel disconnected. The idea that we must be self-sufficient, always in control, and often follow a solitary path in pursuit of achievements may seem appealing, but it is empty. Kevin McAllister, when left alone in his house, faces what many of us fear: the void of lack of connection. Separation, though it offers moments of reflection, also reveals how vital human relationships are to our well-being. Today, more than ever, we see how social media and the constant quest for validation can distance us from one another. We are connected virtually, but we lose the depth of real relationships. Kevin, when faced with the silence of his house, reminds us that there is nothing more comforting than the physical and emotional presence of those who make us feel whole. Christmas then offers us a chance to remember that what really matters is not the presents under the tree, but the people around us with whom we can share our time, our pain, our victories, and our failures. The film, in its simple and emotional way, teaches us that we need people to feel whole. We cannot live as isolated islands without sharing our journey with those who love us. Christmas, when understood in its essence, is about building, restoring, and strengthening the bonds that unite us as human beings. The value of forgiveness and acceptance. The film also leads us to reflect on the importance of forgiveness. At the beginning of the story, Kevin is angry at his family, irritated by being treated as the problem child. But solitude, with all its emotional weight, brings him a great revelation. The love he feels for his family is much greater than any small misunderstanding that may have arisen. What seemed like a burden becomes, in fact, a call for forgiveness and reconciliation. This lesson is crucial for all of us. In a world where relationships can be fragile and feelings are often kept hidden, the film reminds us that forgiveness is not just for others, it is a form of healing for ourselves. When we hold on to grudges, our souls become hardened, and Christmas, a time that should be joyful, becomes a reminder of divisions. But by forgiving, by letting go of the weight of the past, we make room for love and true connection to blossom once again. Kevin, even at his young age, learns that no one is perfect, not him, nor his family. He understands that accepting flaws and imperfections is what makes relationships stronger. When he reunites with his family, the reunion is not just about being together physically. It is an act of emotional renewal, a reminder that imperfections should not be ignored, but accepted with love and understanding. Christmas is the perfect time to reflect on our own grudges and emotional wounds. It is a time to free ourselves from hurts and seek inner peace so that we can offer others what truly matters: compassion, welcome, and acceptance. Loneliness as a path to personal growth. Although loneliness is often seen as something negative, the film shows us a different side of this experience. Kevin's loneliness is not just a punishment, it is also an opportunity for growth. Alone, without his family, he is forced to face himself. He has to learn to be brave, to make decisions, to protect himself, and perhaps most importantly, to take care of himself. This experience, which initially seems like a punishment, ends up being a powerful lesson in emotional self-sufficiency. In our lives, we may encounter moments of loneliness, whether due to physical or emotional distances. These moments can lead us down a path of self-discovery and deep reflection. When loneliness is not feared, but seen as an opportunity to understand ourselves better, it can become a journey of growth and personal empowerment. Christmas, in a way, reminds us that true peace and happiness do not come from being surrounded by a crowd or consuming something new, but from being in harmony with ourselves. Kevin's path is a reflection of what many of us go through, with a touch of introspection necessary to understand our emotions and deepest desires. Sometimes, it is in silence and solitude that we find the answers we are looking for. Christmas invites us to slow down, to step away from the hustle of the outside world, and to reconnect with our deepest essence, with what really matters. The true spirit of Christmas. The true spirit of Christmas is not in the bright lights, the big meals, or the expensive gifts. It is in those small moments of humanity, in gestures of care, in forgiveness and reconciliation, and in the ability to love unconditionally. Christmas is about connection, and more than that, it is about understanding and empathy, especially for those who need a helping hand the most. At the end of Home Alone, Kevin not only reconciles with his family, but grows as a person. He learns to value the small things, accept the flaws of others, and open himself to life's experiences with a kinder and more welcoming heart. Kevin's journey is our journey. Each of us, at some point in life, faces challenges, difficulties, and moments of loneliness. But like Kevin, we can overcome them with courage, creativity, empathy, and love. The true meaning of Christmas is ultimately about this. No matter what happens during the rush of the year, what really matters is what we do with the relationships we have. Christmas reminds us that people are the greatest gift. By being together, by forgiving, by accepting, and by sharing, we discover the true essence of happiness. And so, when we celebrate Christmas, may we remember that the true magic does not come from the lights or the gifts, but from the relationships we cultivate. That when we look at others, we may see more than the exterior, we may see what is most beautiful, the soul, the heart, and the human spirit that we share. This is the true Christmas, the Christmas that Kevin McAllister helped us rediscover.
Icons 8 Music.